Today, I'm taking a look at the Shining 3D Einstar VEGA. This is a 3D scanner which will take lots and lots of images of an object and turn it into a 3D mesh to be edited or printed on 3D printers. I'm Seth with Land House. Recently, I've been getting into 3D printing, and it's going to be nice to have a scanner. And so let's go ahead and take a close-up look at this and then do some scanning to see how well this will turn an object into a 3D mesh. These are all the items included in the package. Let's go ahead and take a look at each one of them individually. This right here is an adapter that's 65 watts, meant to take power from a US plug to the Einstar. Luckily, it's able to charge and be operated at the same time, so definitely keep track of this special charger. It has a wrist strap, so you can use this on the go and not worry about dropping it. And that kind of corresponds with this little bag, which has a couple of rings to attach to the device. This right here is used for the calibration, and it will have a card that slides in here. We'll take a look at that in just a moment, but it's good to have this little stand. There's also this little D-ring that will allow you to attach this to a tripod. And then lastly, there is a plastic or 3D model that is included, and this is designed to give you something to scan right off the bat as soon as you open the package. So we'll be testing that out as well. Now let's take a look at what's inside of this hard case. First of all, it comes with a hard case, which is good to protect this costly piece of equipment. It has a zipper closure. Let's go ahead and open it and take a look at the contents inside. This right here is a tripod that screams quality. It is heavy and has lots of features. So you can hear it clicks out, and that will allow you to keep this scanner stationary whenever scanning objects. If it's not tall enough, you can depress these two buttons here and extend the leg out a little bit, and that will help you get the scanner up just a little bit higher. But yeah, nice tripod. A single thumb screw over here allows you to twist around and then move that ball head as well. So it also has a USB-C power cable, and that's USB-C on both sides, and that will be used to power the device or charge it up with that charger we saw a moment ago. All right, let's take a look at the scanner real quick. Let's pull this protective cover off so you can see what it looks like right up close. I've removed that silicone protective cover off of there so we can see what this looks like up close and personal. As you can see, there's a lot going on here on the front screen. I honestly don't know what all of these cameras do and which ones are infrared and all of that. So we will probably know more about that as I play around with it. But as you can see, the business end on the front is looking smooth and has a lot going on. So move it to the bottom. You can see there is a place for that screw right there that can go to a tripod. And there's also cooling vents on the bottom. If we turn to the side, that's where the USB charging port is. Over here on this side is your buttons. There's a power button right there, which we will be using in just a moment. And then turn to the back, and there is the screen. Now this is a touch screen, and we will be using that to adjust the settings and make changes to our model. Now back to the case. There's more to this case than you might think at first. There is a zipper pouch right here, and currently it has the tracking dots in here. So here are some nice small ones, and there are the larger tracking dots. Now that's not all. There's a second zipper up here at the top, which will open up, and you can push this off to the side. And in this pouch right here, there is the calibration disc, and that's going to be used with that plastic piece that was shown a little while ago. We will have to calibrate. I believe it's important to calibrate fairly often with this scanner, so we will go through that process here in just a moment. For step number one, I'm going to charge this unit. So I've got the USB-C adapter, going to plug this up to my grid power, and then plug this up on the side and let this charge up to 100%. The scanner is now charged to 100%. I'm going to use the on-screen prompts to do the calibration with this plate and this plastic piece here. So join me and we will see about getting this calibrated. I'm going to turn on the scanner by holding down the power button here on the right side. There we go. Einstar. I've connected to my network here in the shop. Let's go ahead and push next. All right, well, it connected to the internet and then shut off, so I had to turn it back on. But hopefully we are good to go now. Accept this agreement, push next. Looks like it is currently connected to the internet again, so push next and let's see what we get. Considering the processor speed and the amount of RAM that's in here, you would expect it to be nice and fast, but well, I tried that method a couple times and finally just said skip the Wi-Fi, logged into the tutorial here, and then put the internet back on there, and it's working. So let's just leave it at that for now. Okay, let's go ahead and run through the options here to see about getting this calibrated. Here's the tutorials. You can walk through these and learn about the location of all of your buttons here on the screen. To begin the calibration, I'm going to pull down the menu from the top and click on Calibration. From here, I'll be able to work with the calibration board. It says recommended to calibrate every 3 days. So let's start calibration. Place the calibration board on a flat surface as shown. Keep the scanner horizontally and centered above the calibration board. I'm to the point where I'm going to press start here on the screen, and I can then hold this right above the board, and then I will be able to move this up and down until it has eliminated all the blue circles on this. So you just go up and then back down. I got that one done. I'm going to move this to the next position, and I'll be able to show that to you here from the piece of plastic that holds this upright. All right, there is a blue circle in here, and I have to keep the green lined up properly. Zoom way into that, and then zoom way out. And it will say that it is done right there. What I've learned so far is that you need to have a low table, or maybe even do this on the ground, because you're going to have to pick this way up and be able to see the screen while you do it. So like I have to go up to right there before it will get done, which is about 2 feet or so off of the surface. So I had the tabletop way up here and I couldn't see the screen. So, all right, yeah, so basically you just go through the tutorial and you turn the plate different directions up and down until you finally have all of it calibrated. Okay, the first one was fun. By the 8th one, it was a headache. So having to do that every 3 days is going to be unpleasant. However, I think the results from this scanner are going to be worth doing that so frequently. And I also imagine the more I do it, the better I will become at scanning this plate. So, all right, currently it said it was gathering the data and generating. Calibration succeeded. All right, it's applying that calibration. Looks like calibrating this unit took right at 25% of the battery, so it certainly is going to be a battery hog. All right, I've got this little model that was included with the unit here, and I have a feeling they've designed this to be a perfect scan. So let's go ahead and take a look at what happens. So whenever I place this model in front of our scanner, we do see it showing up here. All right, so I'm gonna go over here and press the play button, and it says too close. Let's back up a little. Too far, get closer. So right there is where it's gonna want us to be. I'm gonna scan around a little bit. May even move this to the side some. So over here on the side, there is a little slider that's going up and down, and that is showing if it's too far or too close. So if I back up a little bit, it says too far. If I go too close, it says too close. But it looks like about right here, which is, somewhere around 8 to 10 inches, seems to be ideal for this model. All right, now I can use my touch screen here to zoom around. Now obviously my fingers are in the way for this model, but Let's go ahead and I'm gonna do this again without my hands in the way, and I'm just gonna move the whole device around here. So let me get rid of that one. Having a turntable would be nice here. So I'm right here where I should be as far as the distance away from the model. Going to press play, and let's just scan around here. Now I'm using a dark table, and that should eliminate any issues with picking up the table surface here. And I'm just going to move around slowly and hopefully get a good scan of this model. Okay, I'm gonna push pause there and let's see what we get. Missing a little data there on the hands, but seems like it's doing pretty good. We'll push save on that and see what we get. I used the generate mesh button to make this into a mesh model. Let me see if we can see it here. So now if I spin this around, you can see it has made a nearly perfect mesh on that. So very, very nice. All right, we know it works well on the model that they supplied, but how well is it going to work if I use something here around the shop? Let's give it a try. How random is this? I've got 2 rolls of tape on top of each other. Let's see if the scanner will pick this up now. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and press play right here and be about halfway in there. And I should be able to move all around here. Let's say that's good enough. Let's push the check button. I'm going to press the fast reconstruction here, and it's going to run through and hopefully turn this into a mesh model. It's got some weird stuff on this side, but I believe it did take a pretty decent image of that. So let's check out this right here. See, it's got this crease on the back. Let's see if that really existed. Look at that. How hard would it have been to model that in a CAD software, right? With that little crease back there. But this has managed to capture it right there perfectly. Now it did struggle a bit with this black tape. I've heard that the scanner doesn't like black too much, and you may have to spray some of their very special material on there to get that to scan. But it did scan a little bit. If we zoom in here, you can see it was trying. So perhaps a little bit longer on that and it would have scanned that as well. But look down here on the flaps of this tape and how nicely it has scanned that as well. I have 2 different items here that I'd like to scan. They are what I would consider to be rather complex. This is a bearing, and then I also have a mount for a 3D printer. Let's see how well it manages to capture both of these individually. So let's start off first here with this bearing and see what we get. So I've got the camera here. Go ahead and push play, and then we will see what it gets here. I kind of suspect that it's going to have a hard time with the black color of this, but maybe it will surprise me. Now, I wonder what happens if I were to take this and turn it over. Would it be able to then get the bottom as well? Nope, it says tracking lost. Let's try turning it back up. There we go. It found it again. Now I don't have very good lighting here on the back side, so I'm not expecting all that great results on this dark bit, but let's see what it'll do. It may be able to fill in the mesh for us. Well, it's got most of it filled in. Some of it on the back. So let's go ahead and tell it to be done with that, but come up with a mesh. So I'm going to select the blue edit tool over here and do a fast reconstruction. You can see over here in the corner it's got the percentage of what it's done so far. And here we go. This is the final to show what has been created here. It's got some weird artifact up here in the corner, but it does have the base of this unit totally mapped out, looking really good. So to fix that black portion that's not showing up, you can get a spray from Einstar that will spray onto the unit and allow the scanner to read that. And then over a certain amount of time, that spray will then fade away and your part is no longer covered in that. But as you can see, I feel like it's done a pretty good job except for that really dark spot. Okay, let's save that for later. Now it's time for the next scan. We're going to use this 3D printer mount, and it's a bit more complex, I feel like. And let's see how well the scanner is going to do. Pressing play here. Trying to keep the bar in the middle range, and just going to go through here and get images of everything. Alright, let's see if that's good enough. I'm going to push pause here, and there is the part that it has scanned so far. Looks as though pretty much everything has been scanned. Let's go ahead and save that. Looks as though it's already turned it into a mesh, but I feel like we have to still press this button here and do fast reconstruct. This one has taken a little longer than the others. I believe that it is a much bigger mesh than that previous. So, all right, well, this looks very smooth. I feel like that white color was much easier to capture than the darker color there. Now, if we zoom in here, there may be a little bit of lost data inside of this clip, but I feel like that's still pretty impressive. I mean, check that out. It even got that company's logo, which is on top of that right there. So, wow, very cool. Yeah, so there's no data here on the bottom, so maybe it needs to be scanned just a little bit more into there, but I'm happy with that. All right, let's go ahead and push save to that as well. Let's take a close-up look at the display. So if I bring a finger down from the top, you can adjust the brightness of the screen. You can look at the storage, there's a calibration, and you can change your internet settings right there. So for instance, if I want to click on storage, it'll show me some of the information here on the device. Kind of getting into settings basically. I can change the Wi-Fi, do a calibration, there's update the software, and if we go down here you can change date and time, but for now I can click into the storage and it'll just show I've used 1%. Alright, back out of that. If you want to adjust the data quality indicator, and I'm not sure how to turn on the texture at this point, but you can change it there. If you want to look at your models, you press this button down over here and it will bring up the models that you have. So you can check out those right there and you can make some edits to them. Close it out and you can bring up a different model and take a look at that. Now obviously it's a touch screen, so you can do typical things like zoom in and out with 2 fingers or use 1 finger to scroll and pan around the object. If you click the settings right up here, you can go in here and swap between object or portrait mode. And just as seen earlier, if I press the play button here, it will begin capturing data for this model. And there is a slider. If I move too far away or too close, that will change and it'll tell you you need to be about right there in the middle to get the best data. Let's test out the edit mode for one of the models that's been scanned. If I press this button right here, it'll bring up a list of our models. I can click this one, which had the little artifact in the corner. So let me zoom into that. I should be able to take 2 fingers and move the model down and then flatten that out so we can really see it. So none of this is supposed to be here. If I click the scissors button over here, it will bring up the edit mode. Currently it's in cropping. So if I now press the lasso tool over here, I should be able to lasso around that right there. Okay, once I let go, it turns it a pinkish purple color. And now if I press the trash can, it gets rid of it. All right, now let's push complete. And now you can see that it has removed that artifact from that top corner, just how we wanted it. Now, of course, this model is far from complete, but Just wanted to show you how you can get into the editing tools like that just by pressing the scissors over here. If I pull a finger down from the top here, we can go into the storage button and then find the software update button over here. And let's check for updates to see if it will bring up anything. First of all, you got to make sure you're connected to your Wi-Fi. Now that I have a Wi-Fi connection, I'm going to press the software update, and it is currently checking for updates. All right, download the update file, 1.3G. Looks like that may take a while. The firmware ended up being larger than I expected, but it is downloaded now. So let me click the install and see how long that's going to take. Looks like the update's going to be a lot faster to install than it is to download. After the update is done, it shows a recalibration is required, so I will do that here in just a moment. One important thing to keep in mind is how the power button operates. If you just simply press the power button once, the screen will go dark, but the unit is still on and consuming a large amount of power. You can just press the button one more time to turn it back on. It saves some power by turning off the screen. However, if you were to put this in your bag with the screen turned off but the camera still on, it's still going to use a lot of power. So I recommend that you turn it all the way off, which is holding down the power button for a couple of seconds. It will bring up this screen where you can drag the power button over to turn the unit completely off. A few last thoughts on this 3D scanner before we close this video out. First of all, make sure you keep the front clean from fingerprints or dust because it does affect your scan. Make sure your power button is held down for a couple of seconds and then slide off the power, or you will consume all of your battery very quickly and not even know it. Whenever you calibrate this camera, a few things to note. If you're using a tall table like I am, it's going to be very difficult because you have to lift this thing up 2 feet or more above your plate here, and it's going to be difficult to see the circles. So I recommend dropping your table or finding a smaller table to work with so you can see what you're working with. Speaking of calibrating the camera, it's important to know that if you keep your camera parallel with the surface you're working on and not parallel with the plate that you are scanning, it makes a difference. So I was trying to angle to keep it parallel with the angled plate, but no, it wants you to keep it parallel with the tabletop, and that will actually help a whole lot in getting this calibrated, especially since you have to calibrate this thing every 3 days or so. Well, if you want to check out this camera, I will have a link to it in the description down below. There's a lot to learn on this, but it will greatly save your modeling time by just scanning the item and bringing it straight into the computer. If you want to see a video where I actually use this scanner to take an image of an apple and then bring that into my editing software, then stay tuned to a future video. I'm Seth with Land House, and I will see you in the next video.